God, been waiting around enough. You said you have your list, right?
Yeah, pretty much got the list in there already.
Okay. All right. Well, here we are. We're here now. We got here
Doing
after.
it live.
Yeah. Oh, well, you gonna say something?
Nah, I'm just chilling. Actually, you know what? I do have something to say.
Yeah.
When was the last time we talked like this?
It was something that I never bothered actually editing down because our friend he went deep into his whole psychological aspects of being a stepfather.
Mm, that's true.
That was that. That was that. That
That
was
is true.
back then. And then before then, it was probably when I was trying to uh, get my own little wacky show started with the professional show. That was, yeah, that was probably the last time we spoke, at least specifically on games and whatnot and our stuff. And this is just a little beep in the signal to tell people that the channel's not dead. I just haven't come up with any ideas for videos. And so this is like an excuse to make one because people usually have this as an excuse anyway at the end of the year, especially if they're a gaming channel.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely. It takes a lot of certain individuals. You know, life gets in the way of a lot of people, and so on and so forth.
all right. I think we're about done with the pleasantries. We've been on a call for like over an hour now
Oh yeah.
where I was waiting on I was waiting on tater tots and chicken nuggets and you're waiting on DaVinci Resolve because you're gonna um you got plans. You have plans.
Oh yeah. Again, kind of like sharing that same sentiment. My channel isn't dead either. It's been a wild ride. I've been gone for a while. A lot of life has happened, and
Mhm.
you know, with life, people change and people adapt and people grow. So, but I'm excited for this year. You know, I got everything set up for a new rig, so it might be less powerful in certain aspects, but at the very least, it's more consistent.
Nah, I
And,
don't know.
and all the other tools that I should be using for editing and so on and so forth should be, uh, it will get the job done, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how
So,
you mean it's uh less powerful or I don't know what you mean by that, but I'll take your word for it because from the way it sounds like our friend hooked you up pretty well, and you also invested a bit in a new rig to begin with.
oh yeah, I've put a lot of money into it. So, on certain aspects, I'm not going to say it's a weak system whatsoever, but it's going to help me get the job done and,
Yeah,
you know, help pave the future
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
what's going to be this channel and just for me personally.
Got it. Yeah. Well, on your channel, that's what's going on. Over here, well, I have an excuse to put a video out now. Now that 2022 is over, I'm gonna be honest. I thought I would have been playing more games by the end of the year. In fact, I just front loaded my year of 2022 with so many games. I kind of forgot to keep up with like everything else that happened in 2022. Like, I'm pretty sure the only game that I actually played that came out near the end of this year, of this past year, is a game I'm gonna bring up because essentially what we're doing here is we want to condense essentially what we've been playing this past year, 2022, into just three games that we want to bring up and talk about. And there's no criteria, like it doesn't need to be a game that released in 2022. It doesn't even need to be a game that's fully released either. It could be something that's even as simple as like a demo, something that you want to bring up to mention and kind of have a discussion over. That's kind of what we're doing here. And
Mhm.
I've got Stibu, Stibu, Stibu Portal on Twitch as well, but mostly Stibu here. I wish I could come up with like a. I wish I could come up with a one syllable nickname for you, but that would just be way too close to your actual name. So we're just gonna keep it as Stibu.
Yeah. Or if you want to shorten it, Stib. Just
Stib,
like Nib. It's all good.
Stib, Gib,
Gibby!
Rib.
But yeah,
Well,
whichever's fine, whichever you guys feel comfortable. And you know,
yeah,
one thing that's very let's see, if you want me to start, I can actually talk about the first game that I've been playing
shit. All
last
right.
year.
Oh fuck, we're gonna run. We're
We
gonna.
were just gonna rock right into it. Yeah, the
All
best
right.
way to do it.
All right. Take me for a ride, brother.
So I'm just gonna get the major elephant in the room. It is Ultra Kill, a game that was released back in 2020. I never really got around to interacting with it or even having it on my radar until last year. And it's been an amazing wild ride. It it's refreshing. It's something new. It's a change in the formula, and it's just been all around a delight.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I believe, have you touched that game yet? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a
Mhm.
while back, it was around the time I think G Man Lives he made a video for it. He he covered the game. He essentially called it Doom Eternal on a budget, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go check this out because Doom Eternal is not out yet at this point. It was a like an alpha demo or something like that, and
Yeah,
he
I
had
think
it up
early
on
access too.
yeah, it's still in early access right now. Actually, it dropped in early access in 2020, and then it's just been getting updated ever since. But that was back then. I played the alpha demo of it when I think the actual demo on Steam is basically the same thing as what I played back then,
Mhm.
and that was my only exposure to it. I didn't go anywhere past that just because I knew the game was in early access. That's another topic that's going to get brought up later here too. Just my general outlook on early access for that time period was sort of just like a thing. Like if I was really anticipating for a game to come out and like I already knew that it was going to turn some heads and, you know, at the very least appeal to my own tastes, then yeah, I would invest in its early access much early on without worrying too much about the I guess the risk of supporting something that might not even come out to begin with. And
Mhm.
this was one of those games that I did that for as well. But I haven't touched it since. I am biding my time for 1.0 because
Oh,
I get the feeling it's gonna be coming soon. It's gonna be coming. That 1.0 is coming. Just
just waiting
waiting
for the
on it.
right moment.
Just waiting
I
on it.
got
Just
you.
waiting for Hakita to drop it, and then I'm jumping straight into this shit. But tell me more about your experience with Ultra
It's
Kill.
it's been nothing but craziness and
Yeah,
just full on enjoyment. I've
yeah.
with it being early access and all, I kind of like I don't usually go for early access games, but this one it's like all right, it has an
Yeah.
interesting art style. I'm liking what it's promoting. Let me see if
Mm-hmm.
it could like put its money where its mouth is and show it to me in the gameplay. It did not disappoint whatsoever. And if
Cool.
I remember correctly, I think Act Two or Act Three is out. I forgot which it was Act Two or Act Three,
Yeah, it's
but
two. Yeah,
it's three.
two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, two. Okay.
two.
Yeah, and I believe they've added a couple more chapters and different levels to Hell, which really went more in depth with the gameplay and new mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of reoccurring characters that I'm sure you've seen videos and again, like other commentators and YouTubers talking about, oh, how awesome Ultra Kill is or what's new about it. I think Maxor actually, funny enough, made two videos, Act One and Act Two, just giving him, his insane outlook on that game,
Yeah,
and
he. Yeah.
it's, he pretty much hit the nail on it. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsense, but it's fun nonsense. Uh, Playing on it on stream over at my Twitch channel, it's also been a very interesting time because a lot of the people that were watching were very interested in the game. You know, getting
Not
more eyes
just
on it is something that's very, very exciting for me
they
because I
weren't
feel like this
just
is this is a game that this is something everyone should at least attempt and try. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, definitely. You should give it a try if you haven't yet, because not only is it a fun game, it's also universally praised as of right now on Steam. I think I could probably do this during this time too. On Steam, a total of 45,445 reviews, give an overwhelmingly positive outlook of 98%.
Mhm.
And
That's strong.
just recently, recent reviews of about over 4,098% approval rating as well. So if you don't even bother trying to give the demo a shot, I don't know what to say to you, brother.
At
Just
least listen to the soundtrack. It's phenomenal.
at least listen to Cyberground. You listen to Mega Neko, listen to whatever the stuff that Hakita has made for the game already. Both of those, it's really good stuff. Some very nice breakcore, drum and bass, like really
Mhm.
just hype up music and shit.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride and something I've been enjoying. I'm definitely going to be streaming some more of it soon.
And
Uh, it,
yeah,
oh no, it just scratches like if you're a fan of Devil May Cry, it does scratch that itch uh, very well for a first person shooter. So, anytime I get more Ultra Kill, the better. And hell, more Devil May Cry, I love it even more. Just
yeah,
the style system that they have, it's just
yeah,
fun.
yeah. And the devil may cry, but hell is full and blood is fuel.
Hmm.
I forgot the rest of it. I missed a
You're a
line.
machine. We're big
Ultra
fans of it,
Kill,
and we forgot its main motto.
Ultra Kill, and its community are fucking insane too. They
Oh,
are fucking meme lords over there for Ultra Kill. Everything Ultra Kill, from the actual voice actors in the game to all of the mods that have come out, even the company itself. Yes, I am one of those that bought a body pillow, but not for me, for a certain someone that I convinced to check the game out.
I mean, let's just say how it is. It was me. I
It
I sleep with
it
it
was
every
you.
night. It's
It was
phenomenal.
you. It
It
was
was
you.
me. It's comfortable. I feel powerful with it.
It was you.
I've never felt such a rush of endorphins flipping a coin in my life.
The question is, which side do you sleep on?
Well, sometimes I'm feeling a little saucy. I'll go to the dating sim one. Other times, I gotta get the V1 ready, default look.
You get a little bit of commando and a little bit of schoolgirl. Yeah, okay.
Regardless which side it is, the third strike blanket stays on during cunnilingus. So that's all that matters.
Yeah,
That's
let's
the
fucking
important part.
go.
The third strike blanket stays on, no matter what.
That's that's not the only time Street Fighter is gonna get brought up here.
Oh yeah, baby. I like where this is going. I'm liking this
No,
already.
hold it. Hold your
Oh,
pants. Hold it.
okay.
Don't put that fella down. Put him down.
All right.
It's not time yet
All right.
because while we're raving about Ultra Kill, and a lot of people have already raved about that, I do want to bring up a certain game, and this is the one game that I did pick up much later in the year, and surprisingly, it came out this past year as well. It's Cultic Chapter 1, and so what do you want to know about it?
Well, first off, this is actually I've never heard of that game. If I'm being brutally honest with you. Maybe I have, but I just know nothing about it. Can you give me a good synopsis of it? Like,
I'll
tell me
gi-
more.
I'll give you what I feel you need to know about it. So, here's what I'll do. I'll preface this time with sort of the synopsis of the game that's on Steam. I'll let you guess the ratings on it, and then I'll tell you.
Mhm.
So, this is the description for it on Steam. Death is only the beginning. Crawl from your grave and gear up to fight your way through the ranks of a mysterious and twisted cult. You, your guns, and your dynamite will have to shoot, slide, blast, duck, dodge, and maybe throw a gib or two to survive in this old school inspired shooter. Jesus Christ, that last sentence sounds like something I would fucking write. What the hell?
Interesting. I'm, hmm. It's almost giving me like I want to say like Gloomwood vibes. If you heard of that game,
Yeah, yeah, that's
I,
that.
I, I
Yeah.
just I just can't put my finger on it exactly, but it does feel like it.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
I I mean the premise does sound interesting. I'm curious to like how the gameplay looks. Actually, I'm gonna look this up in a bit too. But I'd imagine for it's fairly unique if I recall the synopsis for most games. So I'd say it has a very good rating, especially if it's on Steam. I'd say it has really well.
All right. Give me a percentile. What do you think
Hmm,
of percentile?
I want to say a cool. I don't know. The number that jumps at me is 87. 87%.
87? Okay. All right. Well, I'll be fair in saying that compared to Ultra Kill, not enough people have covered this game yet. Not enough people have played this
Really?
game yet. And people should play this game. They should really fucking play this game, especially if they're fans of this particular type of game. This game, so far, all reviews of it, 3,098, 99% reviews. 99% overwhelmingly positive with 3,098 reviews. And as of recently, only 345 reviews, but a 98% approval. So,
Interesting.
what is this game? Some of the tags on here describe it pretty well. It is a first person shooter, a very old school one. I'd say it's more along the lines of this renaissance that's going on with boomer shooters, I guess is what people are calling them, like Dusk or a Medieval, or some people might even say Ultra Kill 2, but I think that teeters on that line quite a bit, much like Doom Eternal does. Um, Doom 2016 is much more of a boomer shooter than Doom Eternal, but essentially this is a old school type of shooter where you kind of go through levels, you find key items to progress through said levels, you pick up new weapons in your arsenal along the way, and every once in a while you get into a room that's designed in a particular manner, and you have to defeat a bunch of these. In this case, it's like RE4 type cultists. It's they have the robes just like the guys in the castle area. They have
Oh,
guns, they have axes, miniguns, flamethrowers, and then the further you get into the game, the more interesting it becomes. It goes from being this sort of like a cult sort of thing where these guys are just kind of like obsessed with some supernatural being, and then you find out that actually there's actually a virus being spread around, and for some reason it's causing things like ghosts and other mutations to occur to people or whatever the hell they might be. So actually it's much more like a different take on like RE4 than anything else. It's kind of like they wanted to bring some ideas that they wanted for RE 3.5, like some of the supernatural things with ghosts and stuff like that, and mix it in with um like these ruins that you have to travel through at some points, and there's like undead creatures as well as there's also a prominent enemy in the game that also has a chainsaw in it, but he also gets to throw out mines that blow up like shrapnel. And this game, look, man, I played the demo for this like way back, and I had some gripes with it back then. I thought it was a little clunky. It didn't feel right the way the character moved, and most importantly, like aspects of what the description talks about, like things like dynamite. Like dynamite back then worked really well, but the one thing that didn't work too well back in the demo was fire damage and using things within your environment. This game is very interactable with how you can pick things up within the environment. You can chuck them at enemies. Literally, if you blow up an enemy's head, you can pick up their eyeball and you can throw it at another enemy, and you can kill that enemy instantly with their own eyeball. And
oh my God.
yeah, this game,
Wait, is this the one where you have to fight that tank that just burst through the wall in that
yes,
cell shaded kind of look?
yeah,
Not cell shaded, but
that's
like, oh, dude,
that's
I
the
know
one.
exactly what you're talking
That's the
about.
one. That's the
I
one.
wanted to wait for you to finish your thought because it's like it sounds like that. I've seen trailers and I've seen gameplay of it. It's fucking nuts. I love it.
That's the one. That's the one. That is like halfway through the game. There is two bosses in the game. That's one of the two, and then there's a final boss. But yeah, that level is really cool. It's like a whole dedicated arena level where you have to go through a whole gauntlet of like waves of enemies before you get to the boss, which is the, yeah, as you mentioned,
Mm.
It's almost like a Blitzkrieg tank or something like that. Very like World War inspired tank.
The Panzer tank, or what it's
Yeah,
called.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You
So
yeah, you got a better idea of
to
it.
escape the cult, you must defeat the tank first.
Right? Exactly.
The one of many keys to leave the store.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, when you talk boomer shooter, you obviously you could talk about like, you know, the most obvious things, the action in it, the
Mhm.
running and gunning, all that sort of thing. But the thing that most people seem to forget is the way old school shooters used to be was you'd get into these like sprawling, intricately designed levels that would also most of the time interconnect within themselves. You would go through one path because your other path is blocked. You would find the important item that you need, and then you would probably get chased into or locked into another area within the game to clear out like an obstacle or something, whether it's like a wave of enemies or some weird platforming stuff, depending on what game you're looking at. And then as
Oh,
you're making your
okay.
way back, you realize, like, oh, this path that I went just circled back to the same room that I started in where I needed to use this key in. So essentially, it's just like the game kind of just, you know, the game directs you the way that it needs to, in a way that you'd think it was unintentional, but it was intentionally designed in that way. And this game has a lot of that. It's got pretty immaculate level design that I really do love. And I think people are kind of underrating into that aspect because a lot of people, mostly when it comes to this game, Cultic Chapter 1, they're talking about the heavy influence that this game has with this other game that came out back in the 90s. It was a 3D Realms game called Blood. That game
Mm.
focused very heavily on the usage of dynamite, as well as like it has a wide arsenal of guns in it too. But what sets it apart, what sets Cultic apart from Blood, is that in Blood you mostly only got to chuck the dynamite, and that would be it. Like that would be the insane amount of AOE damage you do. That was basically like your RPG in that game. It was the dynamite, and that's how it was mainly used there. In Cultic, it's a much like how most of the stuff is in this game. You could interact with the dynamite. You could chuck it without having lit it, and you can set it up as almost like a mine of sorts, where if enemies get close enough to it, you can shoot it with one of your guns, and it'll blow up there, and you know completely eviscerate those enemies. Because like dynamite essentially one shots just about every enemy, save for a couple of the larger ones later on in the game, and you can do a lot of interesting things with that thing. You know, you have not just dynamite you have, but you can also have Molotov cocktails, and the game has some really wild ideas with those. You could have you can have a bottle of Molotov out, and if you push the middle mouse button, which is mostly played on mouse and keyboard, if you push the middle mouse button, um, your character, he'll go into his pack, and he'll have the Molotov still in his hand, but he have also had a dynamite on it, and then he'll tape them together. He will light the dynamite, and then he'll chuck it almost like a like a mega grenade that has like damage over time properties, as well as just being huge radius dynamite blasting, and like it's all ridiculous stuff like that. So uh yeah, this game is just really fun. I think some of my favorite moments comes from pretty early on in the game too, where you'll come across secrets, and that's the best part too. The secrets in this game are actually useful. They're not your typical sort of boomer shooter ones where you'll only come across maybe like health packs or like armor and just a bit of extra ammo. No, this game, along with having its pistol model the same as the Red 9 from Resident Evil 4, which of course that just points to even more the fact that this game is much more influenced by RE4 than anything else. Uh, in most secret areas that you find, you can pick up weapon parts. So this game has this whole system where you can come up to these workbenches during each of the levels, and if you have enough weapon parts, you could actually add upgrades to your weapons in the game.
Oh, okay.
So
That,
it's pretty useful to look for secrets because just about every secret in the game will have at least one or maybe even two weapon parts in there, and then that just lets
okay.
you that yeah exactly that just
It
lets you upgrade.
incentivizes a lot of replayability to it,
Yep,
and more secrets the better. I mean, just having secrets is always nice, fine for replayability,
yep,
but having it matter in the game,
yeah,
like for a more enjoyable round next time, it just sells it even better. So that's really exciting to hear.
yeah. And on top of all of that, like how the game describes, you can like you can slide, duck under stuff, and dodge people, and then there is also a pretty cool mechanic where normally you take fall damage in the game, but if you're falling from a high enough place, and if you time it just right, just before you land, you can hold down the C key on the keyboard, and you could do like a little like dodge roll where it mitigates the amount of fall damage you take. And it's literally like your character literally rolls and the camera kind of shows it as your character
Oh,
rolling
okay.
forward. So it's very interactive, very much in your face. All the weapons are really good to use, especially the rifle. The rifle can literally like snipe enemies from like across the map. That's also very much RE4 like. Like I remember this one area this one area, I think it's just before you have to fight the giant, the gigante. I think the first gigante, before you have to fight him, there's that area where you have to find the two pieces of the key, and then you
Yeah.
combine them to open the gate. That area, you could theoretically like lame out the people that are far away if you're just behind the gate, and you just like pick them out with a rifle. And this game kind of has that similar vibe in some levels where there are enemies you could see from far away before they could actually see you. So you could technically take out a couple of enemies before you go in guns blazing on everybody. And all the weapons just feel great to use. And I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it. I put 10 hours into it to beat it. It's only $10, and he's gonna come out with Chapter 2 at some point this year. But I mean, even then, like Cultic Chapter 1 is well worth the money by itself. So if Chapter 2 is just as long and it's also $10, then you'd best grab both because I mean, I'm pretty confident the second one is gonna be even more insane, and you'll probably be able to carry over things that you've collected with from the first chapter. I'm pretty sure. So looking forward to that. And
Oh yeah.
that was the
And
first game I want to talk about.
with more eyes getting on it too, there's going to be a lot more people experiencing it, which
Yeah,
is always a nice feeling. And
yeah,
hopefully, the developers can actually see like, all right, this is already a game that people are enjoying. Let's do more with it. You know what I mean?
yeah. He
Like,
definitely sees it. Oh, that's the other thing. This is all made by a single developer too.
yeah, Jason, I believe, right? Jason Ricks, his name is correct. I forgot, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
Jason something.
His company name is JSaw's Games, but his
Hmm.
name I'm pretty sure it's like Jason Smith or something like that.
Well, he's already has a fucking great start to this saga that he's making with this
Great,
game.
great start.
So
More people got to pick it up and try it. One of my
that
favorite moments from it was in the second level. You start off in like a dock area, and then you can make your way either through like platforming on a couple of boxes, or you can go around underwater, and you can go into like a boat that's still there functioning. And when you reach the top deck of the boat, there's a room that's locked, but if you go around, you can look through the windows that are barred up, and you can see through some cracks that there are a bunch of enemies in there. And just to try it out, essentially what I did was I went to check to see if I can kick the glass open, and the glass broke, like whatever exposed glass there was on that window. So the rest of it was barred, but I broke the glass, and then I aimed it just right to where I could actually just like slide in an unlit dynamite into the room before I even had access to this room. and I shot at it, and I basically killed everybody that was in that room. So that when I came back to it later after I had the key to come in, everybody was dead already, and I was like, nice. That's yeah. This was good. This is fun.
Good, well thought out. All right. Anyone want to say the name of the game one more time? Folks
Which
at home.
I was talking about Cultic Chapter 1. Cultic Chapter 1. It's got
We're here rooting for chapter 2, baby.
yeah, got
All
it.
right. You ready for me to throw you a curveball?
Okay.
So one game that I've been playing that was actually released last year on September 20th. I wasn't able to experience it because I had a medical emergency that happened around that time.
Yeah,
But after letting it stew for a couple months, getting some updates, getting some player feedback, I finally realized, oh, this game is free to play. Let me play it, check it out. And that game is Gundam Evolution.
oh
And
shit.
I'll be honest with you, I already have my, I have my wall set up when I was playing Overwatch because I don't care what anybody says. It's not Overwatch 2. It's just Overwatch Update 2. That's all it is.
The same fucking game.
It's the same fucking game. I don't care. I will die on this hill. All right.
Yeah.
I love the game. It's a fun game. Overwatch is a great game.
Yeah.
But there's so many dumb shit. And then there's the whole developers with Blizzard and everything, and that's another can of worms I'm not gonna get into.
Mm-hmm.
But I shit you not, I played 45 minutes into this game after I finished the tutorial, and I uninstalled Overwatch in a heartbeat.
Because
And this be-
you played this game like 7 years ago now.
like I shit you not, this game was like, all right, I'm gonna try out all the other mobile suits and see what's cool. It's a practically a hero shooter.
Yeah.
Each mobile suit has their own unique abilities and stuff, and they have their own specific roles that they can fill.
Yeah.
And it all changed when I got to personally my favorite mobile suits in any Gundam. It's the Zaku's. Mainly the melee variant Zaku's with the Heat Hawks.
Yeah.
So I had the wonderful opportunity of playing the melee variant Zaku,
Ooh.
and it was divine. It was everything I ever wanted in a hero shooter.
Yeah.
And just to preface this, it's a full melee character. So I'm literally charging into battle, getting shot at,
Yeah.
and I have to deal with a rage meter that helps enhance my abilities and my damage.
Oh.
So I was essentially acting as, the group's tank. And
Sure.
luckily for me, I had a player that was playing a certain mobile suit that was healing me while having vision of me and providing me support. And it just felt like powerful is the best way I can explain it.
So it's
Every
like
single
a
mobile suit makes you feel like I'm actually controlling a weapon. You know what I mean?
so
And
this guy he's like not a slow moving giant Reinhardt type. He's like a guy that can come in. I mean, yeah, he'll tank, but he actually does damage.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, and just to preface this, when it comes to slow moving characters, so on and so forth, what makes this wonderful is every single mobile suit has a dash
Ah,
and
right.
a sort of like stamina slash energy system with that dash.
Because it makes sense.
It does make sense. So you could be the bulkiest, biggest motherfucker on the field. If you got two dashes, you're dashing twice.
Oh no.
You know,
Potemkin with a dash.
yeah, Potemkin with a fucking dash. It's next level, all right? Wait till they give him air dashes, then this game is gonna get really crazy.
God
But
damn it.
with everyone in their ultimate, it just feels like every mobile suit's abilities are substantial to the game. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like, oh, let's do this for more damage. No, it has its reason for being there. You can apply pressure with certain abilities. You can provide support for
Uh-huh.
certain abilities. Hell, you can even act as a distraction. Majority of the time of my gameplay, I have a specific move where I become immune to damage for, I believe, 3 seconds or 3 to 5 seconds. And the more damage I get hit with, the more my rage meter feels, making me more powerful in the process.
Mm.
So it's a really nice feeling when I can go up to an enemy, like capturing a point. Everyone's eyes are on me. They're shooting at me. My rage meter is filled up, and they're throwing an ultimate or two in my direction. Yeah, it does some damage, but I'm just standing there looking at everybody, and my character is posed like he does not give a fuck about who's hitting him.
Yeah.
All right, they are nothing to my character's eyes. And I pop out of that stasis, and boom, I start ulting, and I'm just spinning, slashing. Everyone's falling down, and my team pushes in, finishes everybody off. Even if I die, it's just complete domination. And I don't care that I die. It's about sending that message. You
Yeah.
know, I'm in this spot. This is my point. I'm gonna capture it now. Have fun, guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
what it is. You're a real team player, dude.
it's just been amazing. And playing with some of the other mobile suits, there's one that I've actually been enjoying a lot, and it's been hilarious to me. It's the sniper. I forgot the name of the mobile suit, but getting body shots, the direct shots, this thing is really fucking powerful. And just having that character there, I feel like it emphasizes more to the team dynamic that this sniper is able to set up jump pads for your allies so you can get them to higher places,
Yeah.
as well as I believe the regular Zaku have an ability where they can smoke screen their way and they become immune to damage for a couple seconds, which is really helpful for reposition.
Hmm.
They may not have the best armor in the sense that they can get zeroed in quickly,
Yeah.
but they become great foot soldiers that they could just pop in, put some pressure out, dip out.
Hmm.
And it's just rewarding for a bunch of play styles, which is really nice. I did not have an experience where if somebody left,
Hmm.
the game wasn't decided then and there. Where I feel like in Overwatch, that's a big problem.
Yeah, especially now with uh the new Overwatch. I definitely
Yeah,
don't want to put the number at the end of that. I'm just gonna say the new Overwatch with only 5 players. That's probably even bigger issue now. If you lose
yeah.
somebody like the player who was playing the tank, like if something like that happens, like your team is probably fucked.
By the way, just a quick message for anybody at Overwatch or Blizzard. Thank you for making it 5 people. You just left out one person from a friend group of 6
Oh,
trying to enjoy the game. So congratulations, guys. You
oh,
you you ruined the game for one person in a friend.
there you go.
Like you've heard it here first.
Now,
Probably didn't think about that, but hey, whatever.
they don't think much at all. All they have is money on their mind, and not too many morals either
Fucking
or
mind.
ethics. No,
Yeah,
no morals or ethics,
yeah. Court orders and the threats at the same time.
and sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But we just work here. We just talk about video games. Tell me about another game you played last year.
but what I want to know is, before we move on, are you still playing this right now?
Uh, Gundam Evolution?
Yeah.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Okay.
This has been like a guilty pleasure in my spare time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Just to take a look at the reviews on Steam, on all reviews, about 18,113 of them, a 52% mixed review on all reviews. Recently, it has stayed about the same too. Actually, a little higher. It says 52% all reviews and then 54% recent with 471 reviews. I gotta say, what's going on with this game?
Well, it is very divisive over a lot of people.
Uh huh.
Like, again, this game is still early in its life cycle.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I could actually pull up the name here, Bandai Namco. They already have such an interesting reputation, especially with the amount of Gundam games they've been pulling out.
Yeah.
This, I feel like, is one of those games that it can succeed and succeed very quickly and well. They just have to focus more of their energy and time onto just this game. Now, one thing I will say, like with the budget that Overwatch had and the amount of time they spent in the beginning of the game, it was fantastic because there was content and there was patches, bug fixes, as
Sure.
well as a lot of balance issues that were needed to be fixed on release.
Mm.
Now, I could say something about Overwatch's balance team, but just like any other game, there has to be changes made to certain characters. There are some that are very strong,
Mm.
some that are very weak.
Mm.
However, ultimately, up to the player and how well they perform with that character, it can still be decisive for the game. You can have a bunch of shitty players on your team, but with a maybe a shitty mobile suit, for example. But if they're performing exceptionally well with that character, it can easily turn the tide. You know,
Hmm.
it's never set in stone. I feel like a lot of people that have left their reviews, I'm just like quickly scrolling through a couple of them and skimming through them. Um, a lot of them are worried about mainly just the suits. Like
Mm.
me, it's a little bit easier to just stick and be happy with what I have, mainly because I love Zaku's.
Hmm.
Melee Zaku and a shooter Zaku. That I'm happy with.
Right.
I'm playing my favorite character and I'm having a great time playing it. That's what's doing it a lot for me.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and another thing, and brutally honest with you, this is only going to appeal to a lot of Gundam players. Like Gundam, any system they've been playing, even the Gunpla
Yeah.
mobile game that they have, it's going to mainly appeal to them.
Right.
It's not really friendly towards outsiders, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a huge drawback on Bandai. So I could see, I can understand the reviews, and I agree with them. It's definitely mixed.
Yeah.
But as for my personal enjoyment, it is one of the few games that I've enjoyed last year.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
definitely scratching that nostalgia itch as well.
That Gundam nostalgia, the one that I never had. It's funny. I I never got into mecha media, but I have to say, if there was any other time that I could get into mecha stuff, it was gaming related. Never was it anything related to shows, anime, movies. I was never into the mecha stuff for that sort of thing where all I do is passively watch. For me, it was always getting into one myself, and I feel like certain game genres and game series do that well enough for me to enjoy them. And that even goes back to something like Zone of the Enders, which I don't really remember too well, but I remember having played it quite a bit. And I'm more into that sort of thing. I'm not really into the the constant like media viewing side of mecha. I just think it doesn't have the same impact. But
Right.
this looks like this could be a game I could jump into at some point. Just not sure when. I'm looking around at all these reviews. I'll read one right here because it's kind of one that sort of stands out compared to the other ones. A lot of the other ones talk about whether it's suits or monetization stuff, lag. I think lag is just something that most games are just gonna have to deal with if they're on outdated engines. But I mean, aside from that, there's this one to read here. It's from Vetus on Steam. Was fun for a long time. Devs had balanced the major issues I had with a few suits. Some were nerfed beyond what was needed, but that's a personal opinion. The killing blow for me was removing room chat. The most fun I had was communicating with other players. It was a rare moment to find a toxic player. Most people were wholesome or silly, especially after the first few weeks of the game. By then, almost all of the griefers had left. Without world chat, you might as well be playing a solo game or a competitor's multiplayer game. So that's what I plan to do. Would have recommended it had the chat remained. I'll miss the banter and jokes. The community was actually pretty cool. That one sticks out because it seems like they took out a huge part of a shooter, which is like communication. I guess I don't know. I don't know
There
if that's just like in-game communication or if they're talking like when you're on like the main menu or like in a lobby and then it's like an all chat, but like for everybody that's on the server. I don't know.
I believe they're talking about actual like communication with a microphone. That is something that I noticed that was not present in the game. It could be
Mm,
because of the settings that I have. However, you are able to type in chat, and also you do have a form of ping system placed
mm,
already.
mm,
So there is communication there, just not what we're used to, especially for those of us that have grown with like, Call of Duty or Xbox Live party chats from way back in the day.
yeah.
The golden age of shooters, we'll say, like Gears of War, for example.
Right.
There are some functions there that are missing, and I can understand why they got rid of them. Evidently, like you heard from that comment too, a lot of the griefers they eventually weeded themselves out and just stopped playing the game.
Yeah.
So again, to my benefit, I don't have that many people that like Gundam enough
Right.
that I know on my Steam friends list that want to play this game. So evidently, it's just, hey, I put on some favorite music, play my favorite Gundam, and go to town. You know.
Oh. Oh wow.
So, and like I said, with every review that's there that's giving its mixed, each one of them are valid. You know, and a majority of these reviews, whether they're good or bad, are coming from people who are looking from the outside in to the Gundam fandom.
Yeah.
So I will preface this right now. I probably should have prefaced this before I started talking about this game. There's a lot of biasism in my reasoning for enjoying this game a lot and for everything that I say. Is it going to be the perfect game for you? Definitely not. Will it be something you enjoy? I believe so. I want to believe so. You know, so I will say that if anybody is looking into getting into this game, just take it with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, the game is just meant to be fun.
Mm.
Try some stuff out. It's free, so you're not going to be losing money over it.
Yep.
See something you like, give it a try, give it a couple games, and if not, that's okay. You know, you gave it your best shot, and that's honestly what we can ask for.
Yeah. What's most important is that the game is free for anybody to try out and give it a chance. So many of these people who've left negative reviews and stuff have put in, like, I see, like, on average like at least 50 hours before they went and put the review up, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
um however, this person mentioned give it crossplay to PS5, PS4, Xbox. Is there no crossplay in the game?
As far as I know, there isn't. I gotta double check.
Oh
I don't think this
boy.
game is actually released. Let me see.
It's not actually okay. That's
Let
interesting
me,
to note, but
no, it's on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows.
apparently
So it's
it has no crossplay between the consoles. At least from what
mhm.
that review mentioned. I don't know anything about if it's crossplay between console and PC, but it's not crossplay between those consoles, which that blows. That
It
sucks.
does. Yeah.
That's that's terrible. Like that just kills off any of the market or community that's on console. Like
Hmm.
they won't get nearly the same experience as everyone else. Oh God. I hate that shit, man.
It really does suck.
I'm so glad 2023 is happening because man, we're gonna be here for a while. If I'm telling you the truth, I'm gonna be here for
Oh
a
yeah.
while.
Hey, just recently, I think the news break out a couple days ago. Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising was just announced, and rollback and crossplay
Yeah,
is
man.
pretty good, pretty neat stuff. I'm glad that it's getting a lot more
So,
attention in modern games.
oh
So
yeah,
just a quick 2 cents, an extra bonus game, honorable mention. There are games that are trying to do their best to make it right, and I feel like that game is doing its best to get to that same level, which I'm really happy about.
yeah.
Especially it's fighting games. We need more of that fighting games. Yeah.
The director is surprisingly very um he's very understanding as well as kind of like trying to right the wrongs that they had from the initial development of the game. But I'm pretty sure I don't know if they've mentioned it or not, but it definitely feels like it's just a direct sequel for the past game, for the game that came out last year, 2020. 2020. That game came out in 2020. Yeah.
Hmm.
Just before everything went down. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. But then that means that I can probably assume that's not in your list of games later. So,
We'll find out. But I want to hear about yours.
well, I'm gonna give you my number two game to talk about because it's been talked to death for a bit, but I do have to kind of like redact something that I mentioned in another video that while not too many people watched, I do kind of want to just put the record straight with it. The second game I want to talk about is Elden Ring.
Ooh, game of the year?
Oh,
Right here? Oh my God.
oh my goodness, it's here, and it's been here for over a year now. That's crazy. Well, almost a year. It'll be a year in about 1 month. So this game's about to be a year old, and I think that gave me quite a bit of time to think about it. I think some people kind of rushed to decide on how they felt about the game within the first month, the first 3 weeks, the first week, literally days after the game came out. They're like, they put their thoughts out there and everything, and it's like you haven't even pondered over it yet. And I think I gave myself at least a little bit more time than most of those people for the video that I had, where I kind of briefly mentioned it along with a couple of other games that I had checked out early on in 2022, because like I mentioned, at some point I figured that there was going to be a lot of stuff I was going to be playing last year, which ended up not being the case, at least for the second half. But at the first half, this was one of the many games that I played, along with fucking a bunch of fucking games. Sifu, Infernax, Nobody Saves the
Oh yeah,
World. Um, jeez, I can't even name all of them. And then there's still some that I haven't even gotten around to actually trying yet, like Ghostwire Tokyo. But the one that
that's
I did,
actually on my list this year too. Funny enough.
the one that uh, the one that I did get to play, thankfully, because I have a PC that was able to play it back then, was Elden Ring. This
Mhm.
game, I mean, what can I say about it that hasn't been said? There's one thing in particular. We'll get to it. I mean, this probably has one of the highest amount of reviews of a game now on Steam, most likely. 471,706 reviews. It's easily going to hit half a million, probably around the time it's probably around the time it hits 1 year old. That's probably when it'll
Mhm.
probably hit 500,000 reviews with a 91% review score, 21,383 recent reviews. So take that what you will. That probably means what I said is actually lowballing it maybe a bit. 93% recently. Not sure what bumps it up now compared to back then. It's basically the same game. I mean, the game has been receiving like very much like minor updates and bug fixes, as well as a couple of balance changes to a lot of the weapons and skills, and particularly magic too, because as we all know, magic is just a fucking meme now for Elden Ring. But I'm not one of those to judge you for doing that, because you know I'm doing a bit of it myself right now, and it's pretty fun. And that's the most important thing, is that initially when I got done playing this, and I tried to sort of like jump into like a new game plus, or even like another character, just to be like, I want to try a different build. I had the sense that either I had too much of a feeling from the game, or that maybe it just wouldn't be the same. And so I came out of it thinking that this was like a one and done sort of deal when it comes to Elden Ring. Like, you play through it the whole way once, you do as much of the game as you can. If you want to look up a guide to find every single little thing, you can if you wanted to. And then you don't come back to it for who even knows how long. After thinking about it again, I think this game is very easily revisited whenever you want.
Mhm.
Honestly, like all it takes is like all it takes is playing the game for a month straight when it first comes out. That's what I did. As soon as the game dropped, I was on that shit, and I did not stop playing Elden Ring, specifically just strictly Elden Ring, until like at some point in April, when I finally beat the game. Like, I went through the end of February, all of March, and then like half of April, just getting through this game. And even now, every once in a while, whether or not I have it installed, I will jump back onto it just to play a bit on another character. And you know what it is? I think this time around, a specific weapon clicked with me that wasn't the same as the one that I used in my first playthrough. And it was a weapon that I wasn't expecting to actually get into, surprisingly enough. But now that I'm into the weapon and I have this new save file, it's been a lot easier to actually jump back into it than what I initially thought it would be to do. So I just wanted to come back around and say, I was, I don't think I was very accurate with me mentioning that, like, you play through it once and then, like, you kind of remember it as, like, the greatest thing you've ever played. Like, no, you just give it, like, you just, like, let it rest there for maybe, like, 2, 3 weeks, maybe 2 months, 3 months, and then you'll probably have your mind reset because there is so much shit in here. Like, I really did forget where most things usually pop up in terms of weapons or item drops. So I'm kind of coming back into it, and I'm just fighting everything that I already fought before all over again. And what really helps with this game too, especially if you're trying to play through it again, is if you get somebody who's never played it before and you get them into it, and then all you need is the seamless co-op mod, and that just kind of just resets everything for you. It's a whole new thing for your friend because they're not going to experience single player balance. They're only going to be able to experience co-op balance, which every once in a while can feel kind of messed up, but it's fun either way. And I do think this game, especially with that mod in particular, like, keep that mod in mind, the seamless co-op one. That makes the game all the more replayable. And I think that's what's most important is that I thought this game wouldn't be replayable for me because most of the time when I go through open world games for the first time, like, I run the course with them, and then either it's something that, like, I don't actually fully finish and I come back to it every once in a while, or I try and restart it again with a new character, and then I just kind of, like, slowly but surely go. I don't go nearly as far every time I make a new character. I just stop sooner. But in this case, that's not it. This ain't it. This is a immaculately designed world. It's the world design is, not only is it intricate, but it's surprisingly simple in the way that it's designed, and how it's introduced to you actually makes a lot more logical sense than most people initially thought, especially when it came out. And yeah, not much else to say about it. If you want to play this game by yourself, you can. I did it. I'd never beaten another FromSoft game before it. And if you want to play with a friend, get the seamless co-op mod. Don't do the normal co-op. That shit sucks. you, you can't even ride on your horse in normal co-op. You
Really?
just get the mod. Yeah, just get the mod. Deal with buffed up enemies all over the place and just have a great time.
I gotcha. I gotcha on that.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one thing I have to say about Elden Ring is it's a well-deserved game. You know, it's a lot of hours put into the game. From what I see, because I've never played it before, it gave an enriching story, at least with the characters that it has provided. And overall, it's just been a content machine when it came out. It pretty much put everybody in a headlock for almost a year
Oh
straight.
my
You
god.
know, like that was all anything anybody could ever talk about. So even when, funny enough, when Gears of War Ragnarok came out too, uh, they were thinking like Gears of War Ragnarok is amazing, but Elden Ring had, months to just stew into the souls of the people on the internet, So it just be it was a really tough call, and it was well deserving of game of the year.
I
Of course, we can never forget, a big shout out to our Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. So we got to thank Elden Ring for that as well. So that's very important. I just wanted to bring that up there, but yeah, I'm excited for what it holds. And, I'm definitely going to be. This year is probably going to be the year I'll finally be able to get onto it and give it a try. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time. And uh if you want to do seamless co-op, just let me know. I'll get
Oh,
I'll
I'll
get
let you
on
know. You'll be the first to know.
I'll get on the mod. I'll get back on the game for another rodeo. I've already got another friend that's at some that we're gonna play it at some point, but uh yeah, we'll see. We'll see when it happens because we're already playing other stuff.
I got a lot of payday. you're gonna catch up on this
Yeah.
year too.
Oh yeah.
Got a lot of content.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Keep that shit under wraps. Go to your number three. What's your third game that you want to talk about? The third
my number
and
three.
the
Oh
last game
boy.
to talk about from last year that you played, but it didn't have to release from last year. It could have been literally fucking anything because now I have to rethink my last game. So go ahead.
So can I hit you with an honorable two mentions?
All right, fuck it. Do that, and then I can do
Just
this.
a real
Yeah.
quick. I won't go in
Yeah.
depth with it, but an honorable two mentions for the first one had to be Sparks the Electric Jester.
Oh, yeah.
That's been one hell of a game that I've been really diving into, and I've
Which
just been having a blast.
how far did you get into it?
I'm actually, funny enough, in the last two levels right now. I played a little bit off personally, off stream, and it's been a wild ride. So I
Oh
said,
yeah.
you know what? Before I continue this, because I can tell this is the ending, I want to be like at the same time in the
Yeah.
same level with the
You know,
stream. So that's
so
what I'm gonna do. So I can have an
yeah.
authentic experience.
Yeah, slow start, but I forget what level it was that I got into it and I was like, okay, the whatever however this guy designed this level, it just like clicked with the way the game feels. I can't remember what level it was, but like it was just after a little bit of like a couple of the first few levels being like, oh, this is kind of cool, and then it's just sort of like,
Was it like the Prison Island level?
it might have been that. Yeah, I'm
It
pretty
was
sure.
either that one or the actual like city.
I think it's probably the prison island. It had to have been.
Oh,
It had to have been
that one
something
was
like
a
that.
lot of fun. A lot of grinding.
Yeah, yeah. Like as soon as he introduced like this whole segment where it's like grind, grind, jump, jump attack a bunch of enemies, grind, and then like jump and dash, and it's like, oh, this level feels like it's much more focused than the first few levels, and
Mhm.
he didn't try to do too much. He just kept it simple, and it worked out. I think, yeah. I haven't gone past that level. I have to go back to this game at some point.
But real quick, enough of that. Honorable mention number two, NSR, No Straight Roads.
Yeah.
So just real quick for any of you that don't know, it is a game, a single player game, well with co-op, technically co-op. Basically, it is a very heavily music involved game. A lot of rhythm mechanics, so on and so forth. And of course, the star of the show is not only the characters that play, but it's the music system that they have, and also the soundtrack as well. It's been
Mm,
a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it on stream, and I do like the variety that they have, especially when it involves bringing rock into the mainstream again
hmm.
and spreading the love and appreciation of it to others in a city that's dominated by EDM.
Hell yeah.
And it's been just phenomenal just listening to the music and hearing the different genres interact with each other. Where they would even, when you're overwhelming an enemy, that you even have a rock version of their boss theme song
Yeah.
that's taking over and all being dynamically implemented into the game. And
Yeah.
it's been just a good blast, and I've been enjoying it a lot. But like how we started with my first pick being a very high, and then my second pick being a very mid one, this one is, oh, my dog's here. Scared the shit out of me. Oh, God. The third game is going to start off really low, and I'm going to explain why. Because that game is Depthverse Let It Die. It's just released last year, around the same time in September.
Yeah. I figured you'd bring this up.
I'm bringing it up because it is one of those games where I could see the problems face first. I can acknowledge that there were problems. But the second I got into game, the second that control was in my hand and I started playing the game, it it took me back to a time where like I was just getting home from school, booted up my PlayStation, and I just started playing video games, you know?
Hmm.
There were a lot of problems with it, a lot of problems issues with the matchmaking mainly. But it's just been a game that's very close to my heart. I've been a big fan of Let It Die that came out, I believe, 3, 4 years ago, 2020, I believe, or 2019.
Hmm.
I had to double check, fact check that. And it's just been a blast with the storytelling, the themes and the special like art design, especially behind with a lot of the character models they have, the outfits and the gears, as well as the bosses have been hella interesting. And then I'm really excited to see them continue on in this universe for this IP. And it's a battle royale. Like, let's just say it how it is. A lot of people are tired about battle royales. I get it.
Yeah.
Battle Pass is all the same. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But I felt so at home with this game, and I just enjoy the idea of one-on-one combat, or especially group combat, with all the new systems that they have, where they have certain items or perks they can add in with your weapon and playstyle. You have the introduction of cryptids, which are just roaming free around the whole map that can give you bonuses. And, if you do the math correctly too, you can actually increase your own damage output by killing an X amount of cryptids at certain levels, which is really nice.
Mm.
And it's a lot of fun to being the last two fighters in a stage and getting into the arena where the whole level around you, the whole map just dissolves. You're on this 2 to 3 story platform, and it's just a constant one-on-one. You trying to outsmart another player,
Mm-hmm.
and usually with how these games goes, it's always the last 2 or 3 that understand the game to its fullest potential and are just flat out trying to abuse that fact. If you go for a block, they're gonna try to formulate 2 to 3 plans on how to beat you.
Yeah.
You know, if you can predict what they're gonna do, then you're gonna be 2 or 3 plans ahead of them, and it's just a constant back and forth.
Right.
And the wonderful part about it, I think, is genius. A lot of people probably hate this. Is when you attack an enemy, you gain something called voltage, which is essentially your health, right?
Mm.
And of course, when you get hit, you lose voltage. What I do like is that it rewards you in a sense of like, if you counter an enemy, you outsmart them, and you manage to do some damage onto them, you gain some of that voltage back. It's not permanently lost once you use it.
Mm.
So essentially, if you have 2 very good people at the end of the game could last a lot longer than you'd expect. And I feel like it's more rewarding because you're having 2 individuals that are not either not learning their lessons or not adapting, and it's showing itself into the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, there's only going to be one winner, and one of the two is going to make that fatal mistake. So I feel like that person rightfully so deserves to win. And with my experience playing that game, I've only had 68, about to reach 70 hours of game playing that game, and I've already made top 30 worldwide.
She.
Now, when I say worldwide, I believe there's no crossplay yet. They are talking about crossplay and implementing it. They're also talking about implementing a new matchmaking system to make it easier to find games.
Huh.
But because of that rocky start that it had, sad to say, I've received news from yesterday that they're actually gonna stop service for the game.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I'm limited to the last possibly 3 months of this game's life. Because what the plan is that they're looking to re-release it with a bunch of hot fixes, a bunch of upgrades to the system, so that everybody who has played the game before can enjoy it and bring in new people.
Wow. That's exactly like what they want to do with Grand Blue versus Rising.
I know it sounds promising enough. The problem is it's the community right now, not necessarily the Let It Die community, but the outsiders, the battle royales, the people looking from the outside in. They see this, and I can actually quote this. Let me see if I can find that one comment where they dubbed it as a waste of time,
Ooh.
which is a real shame. But to be fair, they've only played 2 hours of this game.
Ah.
So that's why I'm
See?
like,
That's
I
when.
want,
Yeah, that's when reviews are not nearly as useful as you would hope. When you say it
yeah.
was a waste of time to play a game, and you've only put in the 2 hours of like introductory content, that's you should at least you should probably word your review a little differently if you're gonna put one up for only 2 hours. At least say something like, wasn't for me, didn't like how it felt, something to that extent. But saying that it was a waste of time and then just kind of leaving it at that. Like, come on, dude. That's not informational at all. That doesn't provide any value to anybody who's looking at this game, seeing if whether or not they should get into it. You know?
Mhm. And there's actually a comment here that I pulled up where this person has 30 hours on record,
Yeah.
and they voted this game as not recommended.
Sure.
So I just want to paraphrase a little bit here and there, but I want to read the pros, neutrals, and cons of what they state because I believe that a majority of this is completely true, and I totally back what they're saying. So what they're talking about that Death vs. Let It Die is a fast-paced, melee-focused 16-player battle royale game. The game encourages players to act aggressively, and after the first minute, they have a feature called the Hunter, which is basically an NPC AI variable that is thrown into the game to sort of either stir up, like, change the pace of the game, or maybe push people to be more aggressive, or actually push people to run away,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what kind of hunter it is. Usually, the good thing about these games, they don't take more than 10 minutes. And then he goes into the pros. What the pros are: one, it's very easy to learn. The system that you have is bare bones, cut and dry, simple, and all that goes in depth is how you're playing and the opponents that you're facing.
Right.
Because it changes up tactics and how you're going to tackle these. Another good thing is that bots are supported. Uh, you can get into regular matches and they'll implement a couple of bots in there just to fill up the lobby in case it starts getting too long, which
Right.
is nice because not that many people want to wait too long. It has very interesting music. They say really good. I say interesting because it's pulling from a lot of different styles.
Mm.
When you look at Death vs. Let It Die, you think of Let It Die and you think of like J rock or J metal as something of the sorts, or just regular metal and rock.
All right. For what I
But
can
when you
remember, yeah.
but when you go to Deathverse, it treats it like it's an actual game show because that's what the whole premise of the game is. It's a
Mm.
game show. You're fighting for superiority. You're trying to be the one last star, as it's
Right.
dubbed, the number one. So of course they're gonna have various different musics, like a lot of synths, a lot of jazz influences here and there, a lot of like game show me sounds. And here's one of the last two pros right here. They wrote that it has very nice artwork and art style, which is true. It's very nice artwork and art style. It's Let It Die, just more of it. Very
Yeah.
gritty, very alien, and very, I guess the right word is raw. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I can see it.
And the other pro, it's multiple frame rate settings in the options. What's cool about it, depending on how your PC is, there's a setting for you. You can have a crappy PC and still play it and still have fun.
Nice.
So it's very open to a lot of the PC players.
Very
But now
accessible. Yeah.
exactly. I'm gonna move on to the neutrals now. He only put one. So here's where I'm in the part of like disagreement. It says misleading loading screen. When I first played the game, I thought that there are many maps, but after playing it for a while, I realized that it's the same map split into 7 hexagonal segments. The loading screen just tells you which segments you'll be spawned at the beginning. So that one, I have a gripe about it because I feel like they didn't understand what the loading screen is.
Mm.
The main map format is the 7 hexagons with the center one. It is going to be constantly the same.
Right.
However, with the new season coming out, they've implemented joint hexagonal areas because they introduced, I believe it was called the Yeti Hunter, which is just out of the way NPC that you can actually go out of your way to fight, level up, and you can get extremely rare and exclusive rewards
Mm.
from defeating it. And essentially, you have a quest tied to it too.
Okay.
But what makes it interesting is that with more seasons and so on and so forth, each map is implemented differently. So, for example, he says that like what he thought that there were many maps, but after a while he just realized it's the same map split into 7 hexagons.
Yeah.
So a lot of the maps have a certain theme and aesthetic to it. A lot of them have pitfalls, yes. But there's a certain map where maybe in the center area, it's nothing but a giant external cage. So there is no center platform there, but there is a lot of cages and stairways and, you know, um, platforms,
Yeah.
one on top of the other. So you could say, hey, there's an enemy right across from me, but I can't just walk out, I'll fall. So you got to go through this maze-like structure of staircases to find a path that goes to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Another one could be oh, I just kicked my trash can. Where a lot of the hexagonal areas revolve around what looks to be like a center stage or center podium where the arenas usually are. And then, you would have some tunnels here and there.
Mm.
Certain maps have a depth to it where they actually have 2 layers of depth instead of 1. And some even have the height where they can have 3 or 4 layers depending on it. You can get a vantage point. You can actually see if you can do jumping attacks and surprise an enemy. You can go around scavenging for items. Certain maps actually have a drop rate with certain items, and certain maps have specific cryptids that can spawn easier than others. When you look at the game more in depth, it's more of just what's the map. If you memorize it and played it, you have home field advantage. You know the ins and outs of it. Yes, they're structured the same, but they're completely different with what they provide.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So that's why I'm like a little bit of the on that one, because although what he says partly is true, the rest is also false.
Got it. Yeah.
So here's one of the other the cons now. And funny enough, he actually redacted one of the information there because they changed it this season.
Mm-hmm.
So this brings a little hope for me because it seems like they're actually listening and looking to support this game in the long run. So that's why I'm a bit upset about the termination of service, but excited for the re-release for when it comes out.
Yeah.
So the one that he redacted was hosting private games requires purchase of the season pass, the battle pass. Now, this is when the battle pass was still early in its development for this game and early in its life cycle. So once they realized that not that many people enjoy that feature on it, that it's being limited, a game mode being limited behind a battle pass, they said, we're just going to make it free for everybody. So they fixed that. The second con that he says is left click not working sometimes on the UI. I can wholeheartedly say I never experienced this issue. And I played both on keyboard and mouse and on controller.
Ah, okay.
Everything worked out fine on the UI.
Huh. That's interesting.
So I'm assuming maybe it was a personal error. Like maybe he faulty keyboard or something, or or mouse, my bad, since it's left click. Maybe the game wasn't running optimally. Maybe he was running at low settings, but it still wasn't enough.
It could
And
be,
some things
yeah.
can register.
It could be some compatibility issue as well with the game and whatever he has set up there too. But at least in his case, he experienced some issues and he had to report on it on the review, and he hasn't redacted it yet. So my
And
call
again,
is that he's probably somebody who has a very specific issue that maybe not too many people come across, except he's just one of the unlucky ones that did.
more than likely. And then regardless, it's still an issue.
Yeah.
Because if it can happen to one person, it can happen to another.
Yep.
So that's why for these reviews, there are some that I can understandably take seriously. Like this one, regardless of how I feel about it, objectively, if it's an issue, it needs to be presented, it needs to be fixed. This should be brought to the attention of the consumers as well.
Yeah.
Clarity is very important when it comes to games like this. But the last 2 cons that he wrote actually involved the shop that they had. One of the cons was pointless cutscene every time when you enter the shop from the main menu. And the cutscene he's talking about is that it just pops up, the screen goes black, then red text that says Death Shop, it does a little jingle, and then it goes into the main screen for the shop. I could see that as an issue. I feel like it adds to the novelty of the game. And there are times where it's like, if I just want to get done, yes, it does get annoying.
Yeah.
So I can agree that this is a con. But me personally, I feel like it adds that extra charm to it.
Right.
And the second con regarding to that, and the last con that he listed here, is lack of amount option when exchanging tickets for materials. Now, what this means is that in my time of playing this game, every time you level up, every time you rank up and get a reward, every time you complete a quest, battle pass level, you get something called material tickets. Depending on the rarity, you can have a blue, green, or a red. Right?
Okay.
So the good thing about it is that you can technically in game go and scavenge these materials by defeating cryptids or fighting in the wild. It will take a lot longer, sure, but that's kind of like an extra bonus. You know what I mean?
Right.
But whenever you complete a certain objective or quest or level up, they can give you these material tickets where instead of using like actual currency if you need a bulk, you can actually get a good bulk of them for free, and you're able to redeem them. So I feel like they're very generous with that as well. So there should not be an instance where you need to spend money to get like the coins to get materials. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And 9 times out of 10, you're gaining a lot of in-game currency to redeem it. So you're not losing a cent out of your wallet.
Mm.
Like a majority, like actually, let me double check. If I'm correct, the only thing you spend money on is the battle pass, and that's all cosmetics. So
Right.
there's no like game advantage or anything there, which is already phenomenal because people were worried about that when it comes to like containing a shop with materials.
Sure. Yeah. Of course, people
Mhm.
would be. Yeah.
Now, when he says lack of a mount option, whenever you buy an item or a material in the shop, if you need to buy multiple of it, you have to select it, buy it, leave the screen, select the item again, and confirm buying it, so on and so forth, and rinse and repeat.
Uh-huh.
It takes a long fucking time.
Yeah.
So I agree with this con. The fact that there's no amount option takes so fucking long.
Uh,
Because nothing sucks more when you're trying to build this weapon and it says you need 13 red iron, right?
yeah.
And you have to spend good 10 minutes, depending how fast you are or slow, selecting the item, getting one, leaving the screen, selecting
Mm.
the item, buying one, leaving the screen. It just becomes annoying and it breaks kind of the flow that you have with this game.
Right. Okay.
And when it comes, and just to add on to it more, I know I've been rambling on long enough, but the play styles and variety that they give is phenomenal. When I joined the game early season 2. I was able to be there season 1.
Mm-hmm.
It offered the machete, which is your standard play style. It offered the katana, fast striking and high damaging. It offered the hammer, higher damaging but very slow, very brute force kind of gameplay. Then they also provided I believe it's the chainsaws, which offered a very unique, fast-paced playstyle. However, the damage was very weak.
Ah,
And
okay.
then even weaker so, the dual knives, making you kind of like a very fast entity in the game, giving you a lot more chances to break enemy guards, but you do very little damage.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, you're planning like a rogue, like you're trying to get that finishing strike, and you're seeing people fight. You're gonna try to engage, but wait at that moment where you know you can claim one and then solo fight another one.
Right. Right.
And just like any other battle royale, third partying is gonna be a fact of life in a game.
Got it.
That's never gonna change. And people complaining about it, it's like obviously never played Fortnite or Apex Legends. That's gonna be a constant in any game. Because objectively, it's smart. Should I engage in two people right now in the small percent chance that they're going to both turn on me and then kill me? Or can I wait until someone is low enough, intercept, and reap the rewards?
Of course.
At the end of the day, it's not cheating or anything. It's not bullshit. It's tactics. We can hate it. We can cry about it. I get pissed at it sometimes because it happens to me too. But I can understand that it's like a justifiable tactic. You're trying to be the one last star. You're not trying to be top 3. And if you are, then congrats, you did it. But I'm
Uh,
getting ahead of myself on that.
yeah. Well, you know what it is, man. Shit,
It
I messed up the joke. It is what it
it
is.
is what it is. It's a shame that it's going through this rough patch right now, and I'm hoping this is going to be a selfless plug, a shameless plug as well. I apologize ahead of time. But over in my YouTube channel, I'm actually going to be creating content for this video on the last, I believe, 3 months of this game's life cycle before it's released. And
Motherfucker.
what I want to do is showcase the positives, throw in some of the cons in there as well. And I just want to showcase people that like this is a fun game. Give it a try, you know. And if you enjoy it, then that's great. But this is also going to kickstart my journey because I believe I'm a talented player in this game. I've gotten a lot of experience. I've won a lot of games. I've been the one last star many, many multiple times. I'm actually attempting what they're doing is this championship event that they're doing. And my goal is to actually breach into top 16 worldwide. Doing so is going to put me in one last game where I'm going to be fighting the best of the best. And that's what I'm going to be. That's going to be my goal before this game ends its life cycle.
Yeah.
And that nothing much to say. I mean, it's a game that has its problems, but it has a lot of soul, personality, and a lot of people that loved its previous game that fell in love with this game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the future of it, and I can only hope the best of it because I can tell this is one of those games where even the developers fell in love with it. So
Right.
much so that they're creating their own content in their own Twitter, showcasing other content creators and so on and so forth. They even have the voice actress, if I remember correctly, for one of the characters there named Queen Bee. They actually commissioned a VTuber model, which is funny enough, and have her playing in the background, commentating on some of these games. On Twitch, on their official Twitch channel, they have live games every hour, picking a random ranked game, showcasing these 16 players, and you can actually vote on them to get in-game rewards. And it's the cost of no money. And also you're getting exposure of like, wow, this player, he's top 30 or he's top 10. He's fucking phenomenal. And you're able to spectate and see these players.
And that's
There's a
real
lot of
progressive.
avenues and a lot of love that they're trying to show this game, and especially to the people playing it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's done criminally that it had such a rough patch. And sometimes that happens. The best of games, they cannot live that long. I can
Yeah.
only hope. I can only, and I'll end it off with this. I hope they have themselves a Phoenix rebirth. If they had a rocky start, I wish they can gain something from similar to the sense of like No Man's Sky. It
Mm.
was a rough patch in the beginning, but I'm hoping that once they re-release, not only are they gonna bring back the players that love this game, but they're gonna showcase everybody that we're listening, we're doing our best, we're doing this for you. And more importantly, let's just have some fun with this. Let's
Yeah.
push it. Let's see what we can do. And that's
Yeah.
how I'm gonna end up. I'm not gonna talk anymore.
Yeah. That's good. That's wow. That's a lot for a game like this, man. This it's kind of shocking to hear too because I look here at the game's page on Steam and everything, like it's got reviews on here, but like there's only a total of 704 reviews on Steam. Like to me that's pretty shocking. I'm pretty sure this was simultaneously released on consoles along with PC as well. So to me, I find it interesting that there's a free to play game on here that just like doesn't have the sort of numbers that most free to play games would have, at least when it comes to whether it's player base or the amount of people who are talking about it on here on Steam itself. So
It
to
ended
me,
up having a shadow release. That's what it was. Like they didn't
got
have a
shadow
big
drop.
announcement. Yeah,
Yeah, it
it
got
and
shadow
it
drop.
impacted a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like there's so many things that they could have done right, and they tried their best at it. And kudos to them for trying to keep the game alive. This season they implemented a new weapon. They actually made custom. You can change different executions
Mm-hmm.
now, so you can have a more like personality to the way you play your favorite weapon and such.
Yeah.
I know I said I'll stop, but it's just there were so many things going against this game.
Keep
I
going,
can
King. Keep it going. Keep it rolling.
there were so many things going against this game. If I was being realistic and I was being like anybody else, this game was designed to fail. Yes, it was really bad start, but that doesn't mean that behind all this cold, there's not a downside. I believe just by searching up Google Analytics right here, uh, it got a 6 out of 10 on Steam. But a majority of the Google users that actually checked this game out, 87% confirmed like this game.
Mm-hmm.
Again, at the end of the day, without much of a credible source, that may not mean much.
Yeah.
But here's we actually do have another official one. I believe that page is called Video Game 24/7 News Articles, reviews and guides.
Yeah, I know that one.
They actually rated this game a 4 out of 5. So those are the only two that I'm able to find right now. Again, I'm not saying this is the best game ever made that nobody ever knows about it, or this is the worst game ever made that everybody should forget about it. It's very decisive. People are gonna find its pros and cons, and it's only gonna realistically appeal to a certain type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you like Let It Die, you're definitely gonna love this game,
Oh yeah.
and those are usually the people that are staying.
Yeah.
So I played this game so much that I've even like completed the freaking event where I got the Uncle Death a shield for Let It Die, a reference to the original game, and it's like I'm never taking that off because I love it so much.
Yeah.
You know, I got the freaking Satsui no Hado looking ass shield, and I'm like,
Oh
okay, but
shit.
Let It Die though, you know. I'm running around looking like I
Yeah.
got a fucking apron, a bag over my head with a fucking car engine on my back. But it's
Holy.
like, but it's Let It Die though, you know. I can't. It's so cool. It's so gritty. It's grungy. I love it. So it again, it's just waiting for the relaunch, seeing what they can do. But I honestly believe that with enough time, we might not see this game this year. Once the lifetime is over, we will see it for next year. I'm positive,
Oh yeah.
and that's where I'm gonna leave it off.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see it again. We'll see it again on your channel, on anyone else's channel that ends up actually giving it a shot for real next time. I think that it would be. I think that it is smart that you know they announce this now, so that way they take the game down offline for this year, which is already fucking stacked already with so much crap, and they just hold out for next year. They hold out for 2024. That sounds like the best course of action to reintroduce this game. I think now is the time where people are much more accepting of these sorts of games, especially after things like Rumbleverse came out and multiverses and just about any other sort of PvP online free to play game came out over the past year or so. And I think that people are going to be more receptive towards this when that comes around, as well as if it gets redesigned in certain ways that will help it keep its player base alive, not just to support them, but to also just kind of give them the access that they need to even play the game to begin with. I think this game has a lot of potential to be able to come back and hopefully, get way more people on it than what's already on here right now. And since you hit me with some honorable mentions, I'm gonna throw some in the ring as well here. Let's see. I got this game that I played. I'm not surprisingly not gonna really bring up a lot of the games that I played early last year. I'm gonna bring up maybe like one or two of them. This first one, Infernax. I think not enough people still have played this game, Infernax. This is like if you mixed Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest together into one game, but you just made it like actually good. You made it
Mhm.
control well, have some pretty interesting light RPG elements, have this really cool dialogue system that can actually affect the ending that you get, where your actions actually have consequences. And overall, it's just a hardcore, old school type of 2D side scrolling game that has some light Metroidvania aspects to it as well, and it's just solid. It's just a solid fucking game.
Right.
And the other game that I want to talk about is over here, Signalis.
Hmm.
This is an honorable mention because I haven't beaten it yet. I guarantee if I had actually beaten this, this probably would be one of the three games that I would have brought up. But because I didn't even beat it yet, I have to put it here. I've only put 2 hours into it, and I'm at this point in the game where I'm like, okay, I really don't know where I'm going right now. So I'm gonna have to dedicate more time than I would usually need to actually figure out where I need to go right now. And I don't have the luxury of that amount of time to actually put into the game currently. But from what I've played and from what I've heard too, this is like truly old school survival horror with a fresh paint of anime in it, as well as very interesting philosophical questions, psychological questions, and apparently it has an actual good story to it, which a lot of survival horror tends to miss out on. Like the last game that actually had a good story was probably Silent Hill 2. So it's been a while.
Yeah, that sounds interesting enough.
And I have to bring it up because it was in December, just before the end of the year. But
Mhm.
goddamn, man. Well, actually, I won't bring it up yet. No, it's gonna come up later. It's gonna come up later. There's other stuff that I've played. Vampire Survivors, great game. Great game. I played the remastered version of Spider-Man on PC. That game is still great. So many other things that I've played throughout the years. I finally beat BioShock Remastered this year. It's okay. It hasn't aged well in terms of its combat,
I
which is
gotcha.
which is what I was dying to get into, and then I kind of try it out, and I'm like,
Definitely a product of its time, would you say?
it's a product of its time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
uh, got back to Resident Evil 2 remake to actually beat both campaigns on hardcore finally. That was pretty. That was tough to an extent. I got pretty lucky with a lot of headshots in there. I don't know how that happened, but uh, and that's pretty much all of the honorable mentions I have because I want to get into this last game. I don't know. I can't even remember how I started this. I don't remember. I don't remember at what point I actually purchased this game, but man, this game took over my life, especially during the latter half of 2022. Like from September all the way up until even now, this game is like part of my regular scheduling of gaming, essentially. Especially if whenever I have my friends online, we're always on this game. This game has been picking up Steam time and time again. Right now, it's got so much like raving reviews on it as well, and it's on sale until January 31st. God knows when the fuck I'm gonna post this. I'll probably post this right after we're done here. I'm probably not even gonna edit. I'm gonna say fuck it.
Yeah, we make it look
I'm gonna
easy.
say fuck it. Just this is just a way for people to know the channel is not dead anyway. It's fucking Deep Rock Galactic. Rock and Stone,
Oh,
brother. Rock and Stone.
now that's a hell of a fucking game right there.
If you don't rock and stone, you ain't coming home, brother. This game, I gotta say, man, look, I'm not really into horde shooters, if I'm being honest. Like,
Mhm.
Left 4 Dead 2, fun time with those games. But really only fun when I've got the right amount of friends and the right friends playing it with me on it. Like, and we're only on it for so long, right? After maybe the first one or two campaign maps, I'm already like checked out. you know, this
Oh,
game this game, I don't know. This game is just a mix of everything. This is like it's like a Left 4 Dead style where it's just hordes of fucking bugs that you have to shoot down with four other people at max. You can even mod it to have more than that, but that's for another time. Um, you mine like much like in a lot of other games that have come out recently, Minecraft, no, let me not meme on that. Aside from Minecraft, games like Core Keeper, Terraria, Starbound, those sorts of games where the heavy focus on mining and like exploration, that's in there too. There's a procedural generation on each of the maps.
mm.
Shooting, first person shooter. There's loot you can gather and collect loot within the game. And at the end, once you've completed your objective, it literally becomes the end of a Metroid game where you have a timer to get to the fucking drop pod, or
Oh,
else,
really?
or else you get abandoned, and then I mean, I don't. You do not get bonus XP for doing it. Like if at least one person survives, then it's fine. But still, the point remains: if none of you guys make it out within that time frame, within that timer for the drop pod leaving, mission failed. So so it's got everything in it. It's got Left 4 Dead. It's got fucking Terraria, Minecraft, Core Keeper, and it has Metroid at the very last bit of it. And the best part about it is that it's very easy to pick up and learn how to play. Like you do the
Oh,
tutorial once, and you basically will never forget how anything works in this game. You know, all the classes are very unique from each other. They have their own special abilities and whatnot. The gunner, he's got a shield as well as a zip line he can deploy for all of his teammates. The engineer has turrets and he has platforms so they can do actual platforming to mine stuff on walls and ceilings. The driller, he's got a C4 explosive that can deal a ton of AoE damage everywhere, as well as actual like he dual wields like power drills on each of his hands that helps him dig through walls and everything much quicker than any of the other classes. And the
mhm.
scout is basically just he's a troll. He has a grapple hook only for himself. He can get to high places. He can get to low places. He can mitigate fall damage by just using a grapple hook. He also his one useful thing for the team is the flare gun that he has, which lights
Oh,
up
okay.
an area for a certain amount of time. But he's basically my favorite class now anyway because he's got pretty good weaponry on top of some of the meme stuff. You know, the flare gun is it's a bit of a meme, but it also helps because the game is also fairly dark.
I got you.
If you're not using your flares properly, you'll be in a very dimly lit room, and you'll get hit by a swarm that always come up every once in a while, and you'll get fucked up.
Yeah, with a name
This
like Deep Rock Galactic, I imagine it goes deep in the dark, man.
Oh yeah, this game goes pretty damn deep. There's lots of different mission types too. You got things like simple stuff like mining for a specific material or collecting alien eggs which have a much more higher chance of actually spawning swarms when you pick them up. You
Oh,
have
okay.
these missions where you have to find like these essentially like these geysers that have liquid ores in it, and you set up pipelines for them, and you can grind around like your Tony Hawk. And I only say that because it's canon in the Deep Rock Galactic lore that there's a iconic dwarven figure named Stony Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so when you grind on the pipe, sometimes you guys would go, "Hey, look, I'm Stony Rock."
Oh my God, that's fantastic. See, that's just developers having fun with their game,
And
being silly.
that's the best part. This game doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's got all of the fine details you'd want in the game. It has the passion behind it from the developers. They're very communicative with their community, which has only grown since the game first came out back in early access 2020 actually. I think it came out the same year. I think it came out at the end of 2020. Either that or it came out in 2021. Can't remember. But that's not the point. Um the game, I mean, God, I don't even know what else to say about it. The season passes in this are probably the most fair season passes you'll ever come across in a game like this because they're actually they're actually like passes that only come up seasonally. Like they change upon every season. And
Okay.
the thing is that they're all free. The season passes that you grab in here, which act as battle passes, they're free.
Really?
Yeah, they are
That's
they are free, and they update it every time they come out with a new season for the game. When the game first came out, I don't actually remember if the game had a battle pass when it first came out. But they came out with a season 1 update. They had a battle pass then. Season 2, they had a battle pass. This latest season that came out like in November of last year, it came out with a brand new battle pass as well as brand new mission types. There's new mission types now and new mission objectives within your missions as well. So
okay.
they're still actively updating this game along with these seasonal battle passes that are free. And then the best part, get this, once the season is over and you're going into the next season, all the items that you could have unlocked through the previous battle pass, they show up in loot crates in random levels now. So
Oh, okay. So they're not completely locked out for it too,
yeah,
right?
you're never locked out of cosmetics or anything like that that showed up in other battle passes prior. They will just show up in these loot crates that you can find in any mission, and those loot crates will contain just about everything that you missed. So while technically speaking, with that, then it's just really purely random what you get. At this
Right.
point, it's probably that thing is probably congested by now, but still, I mean, there's it's just fucking cosmetics. It's just cosmetics, and it's worth to just give it a go at it when you go into the loot chest, and then you'll see like, oh wow, this was in one of the seasons before. Like that looks really cool. Like and then there you go, you have it.
Right.
Uh, this game, God, it's insane. This game normally is priced at, is it 30? 30? This game is normally priced at 30. I still think that's a bit of a steal after having put in this many hours into it. Um and there's still way more hours I can put into this now too. Like I've got over 100, and there's still I'm pretty sure there's still things I don't really know about yet either in this game. And there's still things that just over the past holiday break I came across for the first time, like specific like mission modifiers that I had not seen before the holidays. And then there they were. I was like, what the fuck? We've never seen these modifiers before. What is going on? And we're like 100 hours into the game, and we're still finding new stuff with it. And I mean, yeah, it's just a really great game. It's a very great co-op game. There's a lot of hectic, chaotic energy behind it, as well as a bit of there's a bit of teamwork that gets involved with doing stuff like building platforms for people to get across certain areas, or setting up a zip line so that people can make an escape quicker from an exposed area, or just providing support fire for your engineer, with your minigun and whatnot.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, this game is fucking insane, and it's only gonna get bigger because, I mean, the last time the last time I remember checking the reviews for this, it was a while back. I think it was probably back around the time either it had first come out, or it was when they were dropping season one, which was probably like in, I don't know, probably like at the end of 2020 was when they dropped season one. And I remember looking at the reviews, and the total amount that they had was like at 30,000. Now I'm looking now, because this is kind of what we've been doing at this point with our three games, is looking at the Steam reviews for Deep Rock Galactic. For all reviews, there is a total of 145,260 reviews now, with a 97% approval rating. And as of recently, over 6,000 reviews with 97% approval rating. So this is probably one of the highest rated games on Steam.
Really exciting. I think that's gonna be another game I gotta check out as well.
This game is, yeah, this game is fucking great. One review, not very helpful, not very insightful. I mean, unless you deem it as such. They received the product for free. They have about a little less than 8 hours into it, and the only thing they had to say is "stupid ass dwarves."
Oh, that's great. Hell yeah.
And that, I think that summarizes how I feel about the game. It's just like these fucking dumbass
Dumbass
dwarves.
dwarves.
These dumbass dwarves. And
Yeah.
it's just too fun. It's too fun.
Dumbass dwarves. If only Stony Rock was here.
Yeah, Stony Rock would be grinding on all of us. Oh man, be building pipes on our asses. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but yeah, this game is something special, and I'm still gonna keep playing it. Much like uh just by proxy with other people that have started playing it, I'm gonna also still be playing Elden Ring, mostly co-op. And um, yeah, that's the 3 games I played last year. So uh, how are you feeling right now?
Pretty good. Excited for the future. Just a little bit tired because I do have work in the morning.
We all have work in the morning. That's a good point. That is a
Living
very good
is
point.
working. Suffering does build character. That is important to me.
Suffering builds character.
Suffering builds character. But other than that, I'm really excited for the new games coming out. I'm excited to get a deeper hand on some of the games here. Some of the games that I've been playing last year, some of the new ones I'll be playing this year. So, a lot of new stuff to venture on. Not just that, but with content creation, streaming.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
really excited. 2023, we're gonna make it a good year.
and that's kind of what we're gonna jump into right now, real quick. I feel like we should do this quick, but I
Sure.
also think that we're gonna have overlapping games. At least I'd say at least 2 games will be overlapping. I don't know about the rest of them. So I'm gonna do the one right now that is probably most obvious that will overlap between the both of us, and you could probably guess it too. Uh, uh, I brought it up very briefly. Street Fighter 6.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, that beta was super good. I have very high hopes for the game. I think the only reason why I have 28 hours in is because I just wanted it to make it look like I had a lot of hours in the game. I just sat idly in the lobby most of the time. That lobby system, I think that's like one of the most underrated aspects of the beta that happened. That lobby system just works. It actually works. It actually works. There's like 60 people in a single lobby. It's kind of fucking ridiculous. And there's an all chat in it. People can fucking meme or troll in it or talk shit in it. It's literally what all I wanted for games for God knows how long, man. Like Dead or Alive 4 had a lobby system kind of similar, but it was very limiting, obviously, because it was on 360. But you could all chat in there, and you could actually use voice channels in it as well. Uh, I don't think they have voice channels in Street Fighter 6, but I think that makes sense because it's a fucking giant ass lobby, and there's so
Oh
much
yeah.
to do in there. There is so much to do in there. You can join in extreme battles. You can play old arcade games. You can buy cosmetics for your avatar, which is another crazy thing for Street Fighter, which is the avatar customization, which we've seen true monstrosities through that. That's probably even scary than any other Elden Ring boss. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, that beta was great. I have high hopes for Street Fighter 6. Uh God, I hope they show Cammy soon.
I'm sure they will. The game. I think. I know sometime early this later this either next month or next month. This month or next month. I think CEO is going on, so they'll definitely give an announcement.
Hmm. Yeah, something's going to be happening before something has to be happening before June. Either if it's another closed beta or if it's going to be an open one at some point, like maybe like a month or two before release.
Hmm.
And they've also recently shown brand new gameplay for a lot of the newer characters. I don't know if you saw that yet or if you missed it.
I have not yet. It's possible to
They
check out.
have yeah, they have a legit match. It looks like it's either against developers or testers on the game. They have a legit match with classic controls on between Manon and Marissa.
Okay.
There is actual combos in it, and
Shit.
yeah, Marissa just looks kind of ridiculous, but so does Manon. But you know, I'll let you have your piece. I'll wait on Cammy.
Yeah. Uh, so I would say for me, the game that I'd be really excited for right now. There's two. They're both coming around like around the same. I wouldn't say the same time, but just about less than a month apart.
Yeah.
This one will be an honorable mention. It's the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection
Oh, for
because that's
sure.
just nostalgia going out for me.
That's
But the
nostalgia for me
game,
too.
okay, so then here's two of them because I'm going to throw you another one. It's actually Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm just
Yeah, that's
fucking
the two overlaps that I figured would happen.
yeah. So there's a lot of games. Checking out some of the release dates that are really exciting. I think Forsaken is coming out
Oh, you mean
within a couple
Forspoken?
days. Or Forspoken. See, I don't even know that much about
Yeah, Forspoken comes
the game.
out on Tuesday.
So there's exciting stuff. I know Suicide Squad is actually coming out sometime close,
May.
like
That's May
May
actually.
26th. Yeah, May 26th.
That's
I think it's
May.
like a week or two before Street Fighter 6. So that there's a lot of good games, coming out, which
It's
is really
coming out in the
nice.
same month as Legend of Zelda.
hmm
Yeah.
But if I have to pick one that I don't know if you're excited for it, but I think I know for a fact that I am. Final Fantasy 16 coming out in June.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna play it, but I think I have a bit of for the list that I am bringing up. I guess uh, 3 out of the 6 of them are actually coming soon. I know that 3 out of the 6 here. I wasn't thinking. I guess I wasn't thinking past Street Fighter 6, but at the same time, I have another game on my list that's for August. But yeah, no, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy 16 as well.
hmm
Uh, what else am I looking at? But of course, I'll throw this one out there because it's out of all the ones I have listed here, it's the one that's gonna come out in the most. Uh, it's gonna come out the soonest, and that's Atomic Heart.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's the look, guys. Just think, Russian Bioshock, a little more actual like traditional sci-fi, and Mick Gordon soundtrack. I think that's all I need to convince people, right?
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I'm convinced already.
like Bioshock, sci-fi Bioshock, Russian sci-fi Bioshock, Mick Gordon soundtrack. There you go. That's good. And another game I've got on here, the new game from Team Ninja, dude, Wo Long, the essentially Neo 3. They had a demo out for it. Forgot when. It was sometime last year that they had a demo for this, and I got really into it after I figured out the combat system. It's like Wolong is essentially like you bring in similar feeling combat to that of Neo with Sekiro parrying, and you also have magic.
That's
Like you
good
can
stuff.
cast spells and shit, like ice spells, fire spells, earth spells. You're like a fucking. You could become like a. You can become like an elemental bender essentially. And if
Okay.
anything, a lot of the animations for the spells give me a lot of Jade Empire vibes, which I guess this is supposed to be Chinese inspired too. But yeah, I get a lot of Jade Empire vibes whenever I cast a spell, and they're also really strong. And when I finally figured out how the combat worked in the game, like it clicked, I was getting really into it. And now I can't go back to older Team Ninja games because it's probably the
Oh
best.
man.
It's probably the best feeling Team Ninja game currently. And I think what
Okay.
helps with it too is the Sekiro like parrying that happens with the clashing. That that along with the traditional style of gameplay they have and the level that they had for the demo was pretty cool too. I like the way that it worked. It was a lot of like a lot of um a lot of intertwining paths that lead into one another, and then they would lead into like a small battle arena type of thing where you can fight multiple enemies or like one big mini boss. There's a big mini boss in there too that's like fucking pretty random but also really cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That comes out March 3rd. I think the craziest part is
But what's the craziest part? I was left in
the
suspense. I was waiting for you to just drop it
the
on me.
the craziest part is that Heart and Wo Long are both going to be on Game Pass.
What, really? Both of them?
Yeah, Atomic Heart on February 20th is dropping on Game Pass. Wo Long on March March 3rd is coming out on Game Pass as well.
Oh,
Both games on Game Pass. So, and that's like a whole like straight line of just games that I'm looking forward to. Like Atomic Heart first, and then Wo Long like 2 weeks after, and then 2 weeks after that Resident Evil 4 remake. That's kind of insane.
Oh yeah, and on Game Pass no less. That's a steal.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't. At least for me, the only other game I was really excited for just got released too. Persona 3 Portable now on Steam.
Oh, oh yeah. You know, I'll count
It's a
that.
re-release.
Yeah, no, I'll fucking count that. Fuck it. I mean, who
Yeah,
the fuck?
I'm gonna cop that when I
Yeah.
get paid. But yeah, but that's pretty much it for me on my end.
Okay. I got
You,
one last one.
oh, hit me with it.
It only has a release month of this year, so August 2023. And it's a game I've been waiting quite a while for, and I gotta see if I can actually get a full party to do it because it has capabilities of up to 6 players, co-op in the campaign, a story campaign,
Hmm.
an RPG story campaign. It's not affected by the recent news from a certain company called Wizards of the Coast. Uh,
Oh no.
yeah, I'm talking about Baldur's Gate 3. That game has already been set in stone. Apparently, they had a different type of deal with Wizards of the Coast because I think it was a direct request from them to have Larian Studios work on Baldur's Gate 3. So I think, if anything, um, they're getting licensed out by Larian, and Larian is going through early access to get support from, uh, you know, the players to actually be able to fully develop the game for Wizards of the Coast. But besides that, dude, come on. This is the same guys that worked on Divinity Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin 2. Original Sin 2 is probably up there as one of my favorite games of all time. And Baldur's Gate 3 is just looking to just translate directly from 5e into a video game with a campaign.
Mm, okay.
The basically the Baldur's Gate story, just without the prior gameplay of Baldur's Gate. I'm pretty sure Baldur's Gate before was like a real time sort of like actiony game, maybe either that or it had some sort of RPG elements into it as well. But this one is taking a lot more direct inspiration for its gameplay from uh fifth edition 5e. So yeah, you can play with up to 6 people in one campaign. There are dialogue choices you can have, character development, level up your characters. It works exact the combat works like D&D where you move and then you do an action.
Then you have a bonus action or a free action with certain limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Exactly like that. So, if I can round up 6 people, I have 2 people already on board. I already know I already have 2 people. So that's 3. If there's some way that I can get 3 other people on board to have like a weekly sort of thing to do with that game, man, that game is
That,
going to last a long fucking while.
that sounds exciting. I may be interested in a game like that. It just sucks because I'm not sure how well, like, if you know what happened recently.
I
There's been
do.
a lot of with Wizards of the Coast and
Yeah.
Hasbro and a whole bunch of other shit going on right now.
Yep.
I'm hoping that I won't talk about it much, but I just hope that they were able to, smooth things over with the general community. Everybody gets comes out happy at the end, so that like when Baldur's Gate does come out, it smooth sailing for them.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm worried about is that if things start going negatively with everything going on
True.
with the OGL that they're setting up, I'm hoping realistically, at least for the artists that work on the game, it doesn't impact the sales.
Hmm.
And I'm worried that it might actually have some sort of influence on it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It again, I'm interested in it, and it sounds exciting.
I'll give you
Excited
a
to see how it works.
I'll give you an idea of like the sort of things that they like very slowly but surely work on to add into the game with because it's in early access and it's been in early access for I don't even know how long it's been in early access. It's been in early access for a long fucking time. It says October 6th, 2020, but it feels like it's been way longer. I mean, if it's only been 2 years, then that's not too bad at all. Because I mean, Ultra Kill is still in there too. But they had a recent patch back in December. back in December, they they introduced some things that, I mean, if you were playing normal D&D, would be readily available already, because that's just how the game works. It's, you know, the game is done essentially. But for something like Baldur's Gate, they have to slowly but surely implement things from the tabletop into the game. And this patch back in December, I'll give you a couple of the highlights for it, just to give you an idea of like how deep this will probably go. Um, so here's a couple of highlights from it. Added the Paladin class with the Oath of the Ancients and Oath of Devotion subclasses. Added the Hidden Oathbreaker subclass, which triggers if you break your oath. Increased the level cap to level 5. Added the Fly spell. Revamped the reaction system. Rebalanced combat encounters in late Act 1. Added new spells and spell scrolls. Added a ping system usable outside of combat and during your turn in combat. And yeah, just stuff like that. Like, you know, when you Steve, you have experience with D&D stuff. So when you start up a campaign, you can just pick a holy knight, right? It's like it's been there from the start.
Yeah.
Or I should say a paladin rather. So,
It,
you know,
it
they
looks like
just
it's trying to be expressive with what it can do.
yeah.
And of course, one of the most important things about anything D&D related, or Wizards of the Coast, or
Yep.
so on and so forth, it's always going to be player expression.
Yeah.
You're never going to be playing the same character twice, at least not
Mhm.
in a row. So it's really interesting to see how far they take it and how in depth it goes.
Yeah.
If as long as combat, and especially when it comes to role playing with those characters, if they can hit that nail on the head, then I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I
it's
can only wish him for the best.
yeah.
And maybe, we'll see more expansions to different sorts of games coming in too, like doesn't have to be Baldur's Gate, it could be different expansions that are set on it.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can see. We can see what happens with that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
it'd
know
be
what else
fun to
they're gonna do
see.
aside of the
It'd be fun
actual
to
game.
see what they do with like the Underdark. It'll be fun to see what they do with Tiamat. You know, there's definitely a lot more stuff that they can play around with, and I
Yeah.
hope the success
Yeah.
gives them the confidence to pursue that.
Yeah, hopefully, and hopefully with that uh we can move past the controversy of recent memory and just move on with our fucking lives and hope to God they don't screw the community over again.
We just want to have fun. That's all it is.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that's
Well,
all.
I think that's about done. I think yeah, that about does it for me. Uh I'm all out. I'm expended. You got anything?
No, I'm pretty tapped out too.
All
I
right.
said my piece. So
Well, this will be a really quick sign off. I don't have much to add except channel's not dead. I just need to come up with actual ideas to make into videos. But it's only gonna happen if I feel like it, and if I feel like I can do it. Uh, and then I also have been streaming recently. I've been streaming the Armored Core games. I'm on. Just recently started Master of Arena, which is the technically it's the third game out of the was it like 14 or 15 games in the main series, and this is me just prepping for Armored Core 6, which I didn't even bring up, but I mean I figured I would bring it up at some point because I was going to talk about this stuff. But anyway, that's about all I got going on. What do you got going on?
I got some, again, I'm not dead, just like you. Channel will be coming up with I'm looking to see, I'm gonna upload a video sometime this week. So, whenever you watch this video, that might have been months, weeks from now, or days. But definitely a week within this video being recorded, I'll have just a small video discussing about what the plans and the features are, a little bit more in depth, a short video, and then sometime by the end of this February, or at least by the middle of February, I'm going to be putting out a series of videos.
Yeah.
Part one, I want to say the next 5, 6 videos, and it'll be talking about that first. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's going to be going more in depth and again what my plans are for the future of that. And yeah, and I'm just excited to be back on the ball again. You know.
Yep. New year, new me, except same old shit.
Yep. Laugh, live, love. You know the mantra.
And most importantly, I'm not gonna say it.
Get out of here, brother. We're staying chulo out here.
Yeah, stay chulo, bro. All right.
Yeah,
We'll catch you on the next one. I don't know how often
definitely.
we'll do this, but it was a good
Well,
talk. It was a
do it
good
again.
talk.
I'll be there. Hell yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me as always.
Yeah. All right. I'll catch you
Yeah,
next time, brother.
definitely, man. See ya.
Later, man.